A lot of founders are confused on what a creative strategist should actually do. Most just think they come up with good ad ideas. And that might have been the case a few years ago, but in 2026, it's a lot more complex than that. They have to know how to do research, look at data, create briefs, and there's a lot more than that too. It's almost like they're a copywriter, a media buyer, and a creative all mixed together in one. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what a creative strategist should be doing in a DTC brand, because when it's done properly, it can completely transform your business and it can make your brand a lot of money. For context on who I am, my name is Ramil. I'm the founder of a performance creative agency called Intelli, and over the last 5 years, I worked with over 108 nine-figure DTC brands, and I've helped them scale to $1 million a month with the ads that we produce for them. Over that time, I've also interviewed over 500 different creative strategists. We've hired over 100 team members for our own agency and for our clients. And over that time, I've really just learned what makes an A-player creative strategist versus a B player. And I would argue that research is the most important part of a creative strategist's job. And their ultimate goal is to know their customers better than they know themselves. They must know their customers so well that they can create copy that ultimately compels them to buy the product. The customer should feel like this video was made for them. It should feel like this person is reading their mind, like someone has taken all of their problems and desires and placed them directly into this ad. And the only way to do that properly is to do deep research. Now, the best way to do research is to look at the places where your customer hangs out. So do they hang out on TikTok? Do they hang out on Facebook? Do they hang out on Instagram? Find out where they hang out, and you just want to see how they behave. And on top of that, you want to look at things like Reddit threads, Amazon reviews, comments on Facebook ads. The more they can be themselves and the more authentic the platform, the better. Now, it's not only about doing research. You have to take that research and turn it into creative angles. For example, if you look in the comments of a Facebook ad and you see that multiple customers are complaining about 3 products that they tried that were similar and did nothing, you can handle that objection in your ad, and you can create an entire angle around that. You can say something like, if you've tried these 3 other products and they didn't work, try this instead. That way, you're handling the objection and they're significantly more likely to buy. A weak creative strategist just gathers information, but a strong creative strategist can take the customer pains and turn them into a compelling ad. Before we move on to the next step, I just want to give a quick reminder that if you want to learn more strategies on how to hire a great creative strategist, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Point number 2, they know how to analyze performance data like a junior media buyer. A good creative strategist should understand ad data. They don't have to replace your media buyer, but they should know how to look at the data and ask the right questions. For example, why did this ad have a high hook rate but low conversions? Why did this concept have a good CTR but a bad CPA? Why did this creator outperform the others? And why did this angle work on cold traffic but fail in retargeting? This matters because creative strategy isn't about just creating more ads. It's about creating better ads that perform better and learning from every test so that the next round just becomes sharper and sharper. If your strategist can't connect their creative decisions to the performance data, they're just guessing. Point number 3 is they build a creative testing roadmap. In 2026, brands need a system for testing creative. A creative strategist should be deciding which angles, formats, hooks, offers, and messaging themes should be tested next. They shouldn't just randomly throw ideas into a spreadsheet. They should build a roadmap. For example, this week, we test 3 problem war ads. Next week, we test comparison angles over competitor ads. Then we test founder-led ads versus creator-led ads. And then we scale the winning concept into 5 variations. This is what turns creativity from chaos into a repeatable growth system. Point 4, they write better briefs for editors, designers, and creators. One of the biggest difference between a junior creative strategist and a senior is how they do their briefing. A weak brief just says, make a UGC ad about this product ad. But a strong brief gives you all the context. It tells you about the pain points, the target customer. It tells you all the background data, all the research, everything you need to know about an ad is in the brief, so that there's no question of what the creator should film, there's no question of what the editor should edit, and everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Point 5, they keep the founder out of the creative bottleneck. And a lot of DTC brands, the founder is still the creative brain. They approve every idea, they rewrite the hooks, they send references at midnight, and they're constantly jumping in because no one understands the brand deep enough. That does not scale. A great creative strategist becomes the person who owns that thinking. They understand the brand, they understand the customer, the offer, the ad account feedback, and the creative team. So instead of the founder dragging every creative test forward, the strategist starts driving the process. And that is when the team becomes self-sufficient. Point number 6, they create a feedback loop between creative and growth. The best creative strategists do not work in isolation. They talk to the media buyers, they look at the landing pages, they understand the offer, they constantly watch what competitors are doing, they track the winning concepts, and they document their learnings. Their job is to make sure that the brand is learning faster every single week. Because in D2C, the brands that win are not the brands that can make the most ads. It's the ones who can learn faster from their ads. So in 2026, a creative strategist is not an ideas person. They're part researcher, part analyst, part copywriter, part creative director, and part growth operator. And if you hire the right person, they can completely change the way your brand creates, tests, and scales ads. But the painful part is that most founders spend months looking to find a good creative strategist, only to hire the wrong one and waste thousands of dollars paying this person who produces bad ads that don't scale, and ultimately leave you in the same place where you started looking for a new creative strategist. And the cycle just continues over and over again. That's why my team and I help D2C brands and agencies place vetted creative strategists into their teams in 1 to 2 weeks. And these are people who understand performance creative, have worked at a D2C brand or agency, they produce winning ads that have spent over 100K, and they actually know how to scale your brand. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, well, this makes sense, but how do I know what to pay my creative strategist? Watch this video next, because once you know what this person is responsible for, their cost makes a lot more sense.